Recording in progress.
Is it supposed to be like that? Okay. The official May meeting of the Belleville Area District Library Board will please come to order. We will pledge allegiance to the flag and we will pledge it to the outside flag today. So I'm going to move to a different one. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's my sister-in-law's earrings.
Yes.
Yeah, good face.
And the flag is on half staff today, so I could see it well. There's so many reasons for half staff, it's hard to keep track of why we have half staff. Our secretary, our official secretary, which is Alma Hughes-Gross, has indicated that she is tied up at work and will not be with us tonight. So I'm going to ask our director, who can do everything, to call the roll.
Chavez.
Here.
Fleming.
Here.
Hughes Grubbs is absent and excused. Doriga.
Present.
Peters.
Here.
Priest. Here. Stoudemire.
Wonderful. A quorum is present and we can proceed with our business. Our next item of business is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Doriga and supported by Priest that the agenda as presented be approved. Are there any questions or comments before I call for the vote? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed by saying nay. There are no nays. The approval of the agenda passes unanimously. We are on our fourth item of business, which is approval of the minutes, which were in your packet and were emailed out earlier. So I hope everybody's had a chance to look at them. Make a motion to approve the minutes. Motion by Chehevitz.
I'll second that.
A support by Priest that the minutes be approved. And then once again, if there are any comments, if you did catch anything that needs to be changed or added, now is the time. Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by saying nay. There are no nays. The minutes pass unanimously. I appreciate that. We are now at a special point. Item 5, which is public comments, and we do have 2 members of the public. If I don't know if you want to comment, but I do want to acknowledge you. So is either one of you want to make any public comments?
Sure, I guess. I do just want to say for the incident that happened on Friday, was that 3 weeks ago?
2.5.
2.5 weeks ago now. I was very happy with all the library response for that incident. I'm not going to say anything on it. I don't have the authority or knowledge to do that, so I won't. But just want to let everyone know that we are checking in with all the library staff that were present that day, making sure that everyone's okay. And
Thank you very much. As I said, I do want to acknowledge you. This is Fireman Kissel. What's her first name? Garrett Kissel, who is here with his lovely mom, who comes here quite frequently. And he is truly a hero for our library. He was, weren't you the first responder to get here?
apart from the police officer, I was the first firefighter.
I was here that evening, not at the time you got here, because I got a text from Mary Jo and came over as about an hour afterwards. So you were still here.
I was here for about 10 hours.
Yeah, you were still here, but I wasn't here when you first arrived. But I know how you did, and we appreciate it. And we will not talk a lot about the details, but the fact that you have been following up with our staff, and I have been following up with our staff, and they have told me that it has been very helpful, that your interface, I want to thank Mary Jo as well for putting together a meeting for the staff to be able to talk with you. I think it was like the second day after we were
I
open.
think after I'd gotten some rest on Saturday, I think I sent you an email on either Saturday night or Sunday morning saying, hey, guess what? We'll be there, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you were helpful the night of, and you've been helpful since. Thank you so much. I actually feel better about this meeting. I thought it would be a good meeting anyway, but when you all came through the door. Yay!
And I did see in the paper that you guys acknowledged the AED that is now provided by the fire department.
Yeah.
We did do our monthly check on it. It's all good to go and still staying strong until the new CR2s get here.
Were you all, your department probably was a part of the training, several of our staff have gone through crisis training?
The Red Cross training.
The Red Cross.
I offered to do the
We'll probably
training.
it would have already been in the works, so we'll probably follow up with you to do some additional training for us, so. Okay.
I think under the circumstances, our staff will be,
The CR2 is the new AEDs that you guys have ordered.
Okay.
We just provided one of our old like back 1000s. Same thing, same device.
Okay.
Just a little old.
There's a chip shortage, so it's gonna take a while to get the new ones.
Joy is a library director as well in Ypsilanti, so she has a lot of really cogent questions to.
Well, I'm thinking maybe we need a new one.
Yeah, well,
If you got one that works, don't replace it.
Okay,
Good, good.
okay.
things like this always do make you think about whatever you can do and also realize the things that you can't do. Anything else? Any other questions to our public? Then we will go on with item 6, which is committee reports. And we've not had a meeting, but I would defer to the building committee chair, Joy, to see about whether we might want to do that.
I had sent an email to Mary Jo and Sharon, but I haven't followed up about perhaps having a building committee meeting with Dan there to see if there are modifications we can do to the terrace so that this kind of thing can't happen again.
I think a building committee meeting is in order. We had so many building committee meetings that we became a group. We became, I would like, it would be good to just talk with Dan
Who's
about
the other
this. I
person?
don't know, John, we have to add another building.
I thought,
Oh, no,
Is it Dan?
Dan,
are you on the building committee now?
Yes, he is.
did I plug?
Hey, you be.
And Mary Jane was on the building committee for all
yeah.
this time. And actually, it almost needs to be one of us who are retired. Because the 3 on this board who have to do jobs every day, it's really hard. Now, Joy is among them, but she manages to come in. Her knowledge of libraries is just fantastic, so. Anyway, if you would, I did pass out that
You did.
Assignments for committees.
Yeah.
And I know I stuck you in Mary Jane's policy committee chair. But you're supposed to be on the building.
It was
committee.
January, I think, or February.
In January, I sent it out, but anyway, and I hope that I didn't omit that, but if I did, let's fix it now.
Okay.
Thank you. I think that it will depend on when Joy, on availability, Joy and Dan, and hopefully the rest of us won't be out of town. I'll be out of town for a few days on the 18th and 19th.
We can, after the meeting, we can figure out some dates maybe that might work, and then I can talk to the architect.
So the building committee will meet. That's about all we can say right now. Anything else having to do with the building committee that anybody wants to say? Okay, we're on to the bylaws committee, Don Chiriga.
No report.
I'll report the finance committee, Tanya.
So included in your is the third quarter budget report for the general fund. If you start with the first page, halfway down, you see the grand total for the revenues. And here we are $11,000 better than budget. But that's mainly due to the increase. And then if you look at the expenditures, and I haven't had a chance to ask Mary Jo questions, but I noticed that total salaries are better than budget as well. So, overall, when you look at our expenditures on the last page, you'll see that we're $300,000 better than our budget. And a third of that is due to this $90,000 salaries variable. Then on the second page, you'll see that also for our contractual services, which is probably about almost half the time page, we're $28,000.
What number is that?
It's under the 800 series, so it's 809. Then about halfway down is total contractual services.
Gotcha, thank you.
And we're actually $28,000 better than budget there. And then few more really, good things here with total for telephone, telecommunications and insurance. But then you go further down, you'll see utilities. Still here, we're doing better than budget. And I know with a lot of these costs, we're still trying to figure out what our normal is, repairs and maintenance, $16,000 better than budget. And then at the very end, you'll see for computer hardware and software, $18,000 better than budget there.
We've been budgeting conservatively.
And miscellaneous, on the third page, that total was $31,000 better than budget. Then that's how we get to the total of $302,855 for the expenditures. And then when you add that to our favorable revenues, you get the $313,000.
Well, that's good. I have a question, but are there other questions on here? As Tanya noted, the biggest of our better than budget, and certainly it's a good thing that we're better than budget. We would rather be in the red, in the black than in the red. But on the salaries, are we behind?
We are catching up now. Part of that was the implementation of Sunday hours, which we did not start until middle of October, although I budgeted it for a longer
For the
period
year.
of time for the
I
whole year.
see.
So that's part of it.
Uh-huh.
We did do the raises in January, so we are kind of, starting to catch up on.
Are we short-staffed at all?
We are looking into for next year's budget, potentially doing some more hiring, so, yeah.
We have such a wonderful staff, so I wouldn't mind seeing more, but.
And then I did want to comment under benefits, because you'll notice some negative numbers under benefits. We have a 10 months worth of a health insurance bill rather than 9 months, so that's why it looks like it's over budget, but it's not.
I see. That employee health insurance line, okay.
But I'm still kind of keeping a close eye on that.
Let me see if there's any other bigger numbers. Now, the state aid, is that just late?
State aid is late. We did receive our state aid payment in April. So that will be reflected next time, and we're on budget with that. We're good.
Okay, any other questions about the budget report? I'm so glad, John, you have your glasses on.
Yeah, I took just to read something technical.
Oh, good. I recognize you again as the old John that I always.
You're the old John.
The old John.
The real old job.
Well, and I also have to say, I'm glad that Tanya is here to present this budget, because boy, I love to hear her present budgets. I actually can follow what's going on when she presents them. So I appreciate that. Are there any questions anywhere? since our news is good here, that we're not in the hole anywhere and we don't have to sweat. I guess we can move along. Okay. Okey dokey, and is there anything else in finance that we want to talk about? Mary Jo or Tanya?
That's all I have. Next month is budget time, so, I've been working on a draft budget that I'll be, giving to the finance committee shortly. I'm still waiting for some data from the county. So right now I'm just kind of estimating our millage revenue at this point. But I'm getting pretty close to being ready to send it out to you.
Expected to be favorable.
I hope so. I
I
think so.
can't find the committee report. I mean, the committee assignments, sorry.
I have it down in my office. So.
I have it on my home computer. I hopefully didn't make an omission, but if I did. Anyway, back on the budget. Yeah, we're on a fiscal year that's July to June, to the end of June. So at the end of June, this budget, that's why we're looking at third quarter. We're in the fourth quarter right now. And because we're better than budget, it bodes well for the new budget. But I will look forward to the finance committee, which is Tanya and Joy and Mary Jo, and I'm there as ex officio. I will look forward to what we work on. We are all very fortunate that Mary Jo does so much of the heavy lifting in budget work.
I have a question. Do you think we'll need to do a budget amendment in place, or do you think?
I think everything's going to be okay. Yeah, I am still kind of closely looking at that healthcare. I just want to verify something with our accountant just to make sure we don't get hit with the 13 bills in 1 year or something.
And I see on this one, the actual budget, the actual taxes that were collected were $65,000 less than we had planned, so. There's a little asterisk.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's more. Is it more than the 9 months? I'm looking at the 2023 that I should be looking at.
Yeah, our budget is for 2265. The taxes collected, and there's a little bit more that came in April. Is lower than our estimate. However, we get the delinquent property tax payment check from Wayne County in July.
So it's
That
not
makes
all
up for
done.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I can tell that we should be ahead of the game actually.
Did we get any money from the 34th District Court?
We did. We received $36,000.
That's down, isn't it?
And it was down from quite a bit down from the year before.
Is there a reason for that?
I don't know.
Haven't they been
they built a
done?
new port.
Pay for that building.
Have you,
Don't you know?
have you been speeding lately? Have you done your civic duty? Well, it's the way we would put those money.
Over the years, I've contributed a little bit heavily to that, but lately I've done pretty well, and I don't think I'm giving my penalty fines to the library. Well, but hasn't that been the case for the last couple of years that
It went down quite a bit this. the last
It was
time,
double
so-
that in the past.
Yeah, it used to be about 45 to 50,000 last year for some reason like that.
You're just not getting as many tickets, maybe?
I don't think it's because of safer drivers.
No, it hasn't been about safer drivers, that's for darn sure. Sad to say. Well, we have some things to think about. Anything more we want to talk about our money? It's always good to talk about money.
We need a motion to accept the budget.
Do we need to accept, this is just a report, isn't it? Or we need a motion? If we need a motion, are we willing to accept one? Are you wanting to make the motion?
Only if
If we don't need it.
necessary.
Only.
The next one, we will need a motion.
Right,
Yeah.
when we pass a budget, you know, motion, but this is a report on.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, so we just need to be informed.
I
Right,
don't think we normally do.
right, and we can save on roll calls because we don't have Alma here and you know how much she loves them. Personnel committee, Linda?
No report.
Good. Policy committee, we do have a report, Dan Fleming.
No, I don't think we do that.
Well, you all did a bunch of work.
Yeah, I can say that I did hear back from our attorney about the material selection policy, so I'm hoping they have a policy committee between now and the next board meeting. So I just received word from them.
Okay.
Yesterday, so.
You just got it yesterday. We did pass one of the policy updates. But we have this other one that you all worked on that we're waiting.
Right.
So there'll be another policy committee meeting between now and June. Okay,
I hope I think it'll be a short meeting.
it's nothing like what you have gone through already. I think you've done your big work.
Yeah.
And lastly, the art committee, unless there's anything else, I don't want to run off a policy. You got something else to say?
No.
No, you don't. No. Art committee, which is chaired by Michelle Montour. It's our one committee that's chaired by a public supporter and not a board member. And it's a good thing too, because she's an artist and she knows art. But I do want to point out, I'm even thinking of writing something about this in the paper. The space that, as the building committee really planned this building, we kept talking about the temporary art space, and I kept thinking, what is that gonna be? But that art committee has really turned it into a really great thing, and we've had displays in that area all fall, all spring, and we have, as Michelle reported the last time she was here, the fall display and the early year display are kind of annual displays. One from BACA, from the Belleville Area Council for the Arts show. We show either winners or selected pieces from that show. And Michelle works with BACA to get that all arranged. And then I just loved the one we had for most of the year, which was from the public schools, Van Buren Public School art that we had in here from like January till the end of April. And then now, I don't know if y'all looked at it, but you do really need to. Now we have a display by a professional artist named Ed Good. Is Ed his first name? I know his last name is Good.
She told me, I forgot.
His last name is Good. He displays in the BACA sale. His material is really professional. And he's the artist. You purchased some of his art, didn't you, Mary Jo? And there are a beautiful array of pieces down there. And Michelle comes and does it all herself, gets up on, I was talking to her, she's up on the ladder measuring and putting stuff. And I think that the ones from Artist Good Artist Good, get it, anyway, are for sale. So there's a little slip up there and people can purchase them at the end of this. And the next, she's got temporary exhibits lined up until 2025.
So how does the sale work?
It is that good.
Ed Good. Hey, I was right.
How does the sale work? Does some portion come back to the library or the Friends or something?
We don't really have anything to do with it. It's between the buyer and the seller.
Yeah, we did not insert ourselves into that plan. The kids' art wasn't for sale. The students' art. And many of the BACA pieces had already been sold, and the people who bought them approved letting them be displayed here. So I think they have to work it out. How do the patrons get in touch with the artists about that? Are we in the middle of the cards or something out there?
Yeah, I think that it's,
I'll go down and look at the little slip. Maybe there's something that tells them. But anyway, it's possible, and it's something for us to let the public know that those pieces are available. or purchase, should they wish.
And we're still working through it, Michelle, we realize that they can't just buy the art and take it right away, they need to.
Leave it
up for a while.
Yeah.
And the artist isn't here, so, you know, I mean, he's not on site in the building all the time, so we have to figure out the process on how it all works out. I don't know if anybody's, this one is really new, she just put this up the last couple of weeks. So, please, while you're in the building, please, while you're here, look around, it's fun to look from upstairs at it, and it's fun to look at it from downstairs close up.
I see there's art displayed even outside now, right?
Yeah.
The DIA inside art.
Oh, is that-
installation has been put up, yeah,
And do we have a piece of it?
we do.
Where?
It's
I saw
Right,
right
it's
in
right
on
the,
the side of
the Dropbox thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
but close to where the book is.
How long has it been this way?
It was a few
It's
days.
about a week.
Really? I've been in it here like 100 times. I noticed in the Rosemary had a little column in there about Belleville being an artsy community. I think she had it in there in this paper that's out now, and it is true, Belleville, you know, with the statue, the sculpture program and the DIA program and
And the music program.
the music program and the fish, the Belleville bass and all this stuff. It's a nice for this community to do that, and it's very good for the library to be active participant in it. So, there we go. Anything else on art? Then we will move on to approval of accounts payable. And that's another piece of monetary business that we have to do, and it's in your packet, and it's quite full this time. I think you had to lower the font to get it all on the page.
I notice every time they come here, Long Mechanical is here. What are they reporting? What are they working on this time?
We had a few plumbing repairs.
Is it something they put in fast?
Yeah, we had some issues with some of the toilets. We also had some, sinks that needed, some replacement parts.
$1,200.
Yeah,
I'll have to check on that too, because, there might be some HVAC in there too.
So what?
There might be some heating and cooling in there too. They're also, the plumbers, but they're also.
System that they put in?
So, yeah. Mhm. So they're.
it's, you know, we've known all along that the maintenance in a building
Is
this
expensive.
size.
I understand. But if they put the system in,
It's only
it's,
three.
it's
Well, you know,
very,
They got a tweak.
yeah. So you're
tweaking.
So I think there was some HVAC in yours. I'll have to go look at the bill, but the check register like pulls like the last part of the bill that we pay, and it's sometimes this isn't. I try to catch these on here and fill them out for you, but I think I'm,
okay.
you know, I think there's probably more than something on here.
I would bring to your attention, which I talked with Hillary, I think the other day, the library network, the biggest amount of money we've spent that is on books. The third from the bottom, from the library network. Books and automation, all the library network provides us with a whole lot of
Is that
stuff.
books that we're buying?
Well, you know,
Books that we are purchasing.
yeah, we're
And
purchasing. And we purchase regularly, you know, I got used
Also
to it.
the ebooks too, we get billed through the library network.
And their catalogs.
And then
That's a
there's
lot of
the
books.
automation system. Well, this is also our acquisition system and automation system, so there are multiple things in here.
And what I commented about, we just have to get used to that, it's an ongoing expense, books. You know, we wrote checks like that when we were new and we were stocking up and getting the new inventory in, but and we wrote a lot of really high checks, but
We get a monthly book bill from the library network, and we get quarterly bills for acquisition and this year computer system.
Well, I mean,
So these are.
our budget is
quarterly bills.
250,000 for books and acquisitions.
Yes.
every year.
Yeah, so.
And I was looking at our budget for repairs and maintenance is $85,000 a year. We'd only spent 47,000, so.
So it's all good, John.
It's all good.
Okay,
compared to a household budget.
We have not,
it's a lot.
we have not yet
Yes.
received the Otis elevator bill for when the power went out and like, we couldn't make the elevator work and they came and were here for 2 seconds and left and.
That Otis elevator.
You haven't received it yet?
They always have a bigger, maybe they won't charge us this time, they should.
Well, I want to recognize that our cleaning company was here for biohazard cleanup, and I
Yeah.
don't even think about that.
And that's in here, that's
Yeah.
in this list, I know I signed a check on it,
Yeah.
well worth it, they came.
They were gonna
quick.
come immediately.
Yeah.
But the credit on that, not just to the bio cleaning company, the company that we can,
Well, that's our
contract with,
cleaning
but
company.
Hillary.
Yeah,
Hillary Savage, she stayed here just as the, first responders were here all night. I think Hillary didn't leave until midnight or sometime. I don't know, did she leave before you did?
I actually had taken a nap in the fire truck. so,
But she was here all that, but she was here early on Saturday and those people came in and did that cleaning. So that Saturday afternoon, I drove by, I mean, I was kind of out of it that day. And I drove by Saturday afternoon, was trying to brace myself to come up Roy Street. But when I did, it was all cleaned up and it really felt better.
We did a little bit of that as well.
I know you did. You had done quite a bit. But Hillary talked to me about what, the next morning, they found a few things. Anyway, getting them out here right away and getting it done right away was a huge, huge benefit. And the fact that it was actually outside on the grounds rather than inside the building. There are some things that
well, I saw somewhere that Egan's went over pizza for all.
John Winter brought some over.
Yeah,
I motion that we approve the, accounts payable report. Is there
a second.
It has been moved by Stoudemire and supported by Chehevitz that we approve our accounts payable. And I appreciate that we had a nice little discussion. It's appropriate. Any other?
He had his hand up.
Oh,
I just wanted to ask a quick question. How many people got first aid and CPR certified?
I believe we had 12.
I know at least 2 of them were here that night.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's an expense on there.
Yeah, I just saw that and.
Oh,
Oh.
oh. This is our.
Are you under charging?
Oh, make a lot.
Well, it was really helpful because our staff was heroic and the ones that step forward, the ones that had just come through that training.
I can do it for about 1,300 months.
Oh, wow. I want your card.
I don't have it on me.
That went up for your project.
Well, very good. That was a very good question. But we still have a motion on the floor, a properly made and seconded motion. All those in favor of approving accounts payable, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by saying nay. There are no nays. The accounts payable are approved unanimous. There's no dissenting votes. So now let me put my papers in order. And now we are to the all good part of we're at a part of our agenda that I always like, which is the director's report. Even sometimes when the news isn't all just good news, but Mary Jo?
Just on behalf of my staff, I just want to say how deeply saddened we are by the tragedy that occurred here a couple of weeks ago. Our heart goes out to the gentleman's family. I, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank my staff for all that they did in dealing with this very, very difficult and stressful situation. I want to thank all of our first responders, the fire department, police department. A lot of people put in a lot of hours trying to work through this. We are waiting, I believe the city is still waiting for the coroner's report in order to go into more specific details, so we're awaiting that. I did have, again, I wanted to thank again the fire department for coming and visiting with our staff a couple of days after the event. That was very, very helpful to our staff to talk through that. We also have an employee assistance program that we implemented, so we had a counselor come on site to talk to our staff then as well. The specific staff who were on site that evening, but also everyone else on the staff too.
It affects everyone.
Because it affects everyone.
Really does.
You know, there might be something in someone's past that, you know, this, an event like this could, you know, trigger emotions. So I think staff, felt that was very helpful, and they've been really fantastic about. I'm not surprised by my staff, but I am deeply appreciative and humbled by it. They really are there for each other, so. And I do want to encourage, anyone who is struggling or in crisis, or knows someone who is in crisis, to call or text. There's a nationwide suicide, hotline, at 988.
Thank you. I would just undergird that, as we said, Mary Jo was out of town attending a funeral, but she was in touch with her staff and in touch with me. She texted me that evening. That's why I came over here. But I think everybody here talked to her. Mary Jo was basically on the scene, even though she was in a different part of the state. And I've been checking in the library a lot, and also checking with those people who were here that night who I knew. I mean, I knew about concern. I do know from them. I talked to them after each of the things, especially that Tuesday when the first responders came. That was very helpful for them. They found it very helpful. They were able to, people want to think there was something I could have done, or I could. And I think they were able to come to grips with the fact that it was something that we couldn't make a difference in. And I also, the idea of that it takes time. It's just going to take time for the staff heal. And I really think, aside from the man's family, the trauma is really here in this building with our staff. And so I would ask board members, I tend to walk around in here a lot anyway, but if you have a chance to just be in the building and have a chance to just be, it's always good to be supportive with our staff. It's such, our staff is top notch, so we've not had a bad experience, and I don't want to disturb their work, but I tend to chat a little bit with staff, and I'm finding that people are recovering slowly. But I think it's not something you'll forget, and it's not something you're gonna get used to. And in all phases of society nowadays, there's crazy things happening. Very sorry that one happened in our building.
I wanted to draw your attention to, the library world. We have a star in our midst. The director of the American Library Association was named to Time Magazine's list of the 100 most influential people in 2023. I sent you the link. There's a YouTube video of her remarks that she presented at this event, and I found her to be just very, very inspiring. I think I watched, it's about a 2.5-minute clip. I think I watched it about 4 times. So she really.
I don't know if all of you saw it. I saw it only because Mary Jo I stopped by this afternoon. But not only, the woman is an impressive personality, and she's dressed beautifully. But Mary Jo has captured and boy, the way she said it, free people read freely. She was really a huge, she's a librarian. She talked about the role that librarians play. She talked about libraries that exist in schools, in public community libraries, and she said even prison libraries, and we need to protect them all. That free people,
very powerful. Free people
read freely.
And it's so pretty.
She's beautiful. And she, I don't, anyway, her presentation style is just phenomenal. So, yeah, it is worth, I
Worth
looked at
looking
it a few times too. So, thank you. Now Jasmine. Again,
Yes, we have a brand new staff member. She's still working on orientation, so she was working some intro training videos this evening. Please welcome her. She'll be working at the front desk.
she'll be at the excerpt desk.
Yep.
I'm still getting used to everybody's name and I'm in here. Might not be in here quite as much as John, but. Close. I don't know, are you in here as much, John, as you used to be?
Yeah.
Pretty much every day?
The gym and the library,
Yeah, well, the
yeah.
library,
Socialization.
yeah, the library is a feel-good place, it really is.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said, and Egan's.
Well, all of us probably do spend as much time as we can in this library, and I just encourage anybody who has any little bit more time.
I like bringing people here too.
Yeah.
Showing-
I do
showing it off.
too. I do too. One of my favorite places to show off is the Eureka Terrace. And I am eager for us to be able to utilize that again. I don't know if we have to wait, well,
What are the bees doing?
The bees and the bee, I can't talk. Bees and the bee came out. The bees are all up there buzzing happily. I saw them on Saturday, so.
Got enough
We will
clover around.
We will have honey.
Clover and all kinds of flowering things, which they
Dandelions.
need at this time of
Yes,
year.
dear.
Let your dandelions grow. No mow April.
No
Yeah, John
May.
has a hard time with that.
Very hard time.
no
We just
more
had a
May.
discussion about that the
Yeah.
other day.
Yeah, and low mow or slow mow or something like that. No
Yeah.
low mow, that's the, don't mow short,
Too short.
so you can let the clover take over your lawn. So it's good.
No.
Oh,
Not my
yeah.
We
Oh,
might have
John.
some neighbors that are gonna do that.
We
do.
You,
They're doing it intentionally, because they feel
Exactly.
that way.
Exactly.
I don't know how the city's gonna react to that, but.
The only problem is that stuff gets invasive when it comes to my yard.
Sure.
yes, and then
It's
it
got a little
pollinates,
mind frame.
and it pollinates the bees.
Yeah.
My neighbors have Orkin come into, or one of those companies, I've never used one. To spray their bug stuff and
Yeah.
take
Put all these chemicals.
take away the weeds and we're living next door and I'm sure it drives.
I use natural way, which helps protect the bugs, so.
That's good.
Well, good, John. My son works for the Audubon Society and he really pushes it. Not only the bees,
That's right.
but the birds do too.
And the butterfly.
And all these things that you care about, John.
Yes, dear.
So you'll think, we just have to think differently. We all grew up in a time when you mowed lawn, used up gas, it smells horrible, the lawn, my allergies go off when people mow their lawn. Maybe we could cover grounds differently.
Linda's got electric, mower.
No.
Yeah, oh, Andy does, I don't do it.
And more people are going back to push if they have smaller yards.
Oh, boy.
But they don't have this yard my size, you know.
I said smaller yards. I don't know if anybody with big yards do.
Wow, now you get a taste of what our building committee meetings are. Because John and Joy. We're all fussing at John, trying to make him become a hippie. Again,
I was a him.
well, then you should be taking care of the bees and
Well,
understanding.
how long
the
would
flavor.
people live if all the bees died? Not very long.
They wouldn't. We
Because
need
your
the
food
bees.
would not
And
be-
A
John
whole
got,
bunch of food would not be available anyway.
Right.
John got the bees in here in the first place, so he ought to get the
That's
clover
great.
in his front yard.
Disconnect.
Anyway,
They'll get there.
we have so much fun. Now, we have the new member, and then do you want to tell us about any of these things here? I do, but you can.
Well, I did give you a couple of articles to read. Hopefully won't come as news to you, but One article on public libraries is critical social infrastructure. And the other one, a survey that was commissioned that shows that the vast majority of Michiganders do not believe in banning books.
Free people read freely.
Right.
Well, thank you. As always, that's one of the things, you know, librarians are thinking people, and every time we come to these meetings, not only is the stuff we talk about, but the stuff that Mary Jo gives us can be really very interesting and illuminating. Pay attention to. So, thank you once again, Mary Jo. Anything more? I don't see any more. I can't imagine a person doing any more than Mary Jo and her staff have done in the last 2.5 weeks. And they always do excellent work. Okie dokie, if you're done, Mary Jo, you've got a second thought, you wanna talk about anything else? Wanna talk about your crummy board? People that drive you crazy.
I have an electric lawnmower too.
Gold star, another gold star. So now it's time for trustee comments. It's your choice. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Good.
I wanna, I mean, for an event like this to happen, for Mary Jo to be out of town when it happened, and for everything to go perfectly, I really want to commend Hillary, the staff, you for coming in and handling a situation that was not pretty, it was traumatic. As many crazy things that happened in my building, this is not one of them.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
And it's like the very last thing you ever want to happen. So I have to give everybody who works here, whether they were directly involved or not, a big hand. Of course, you're doing everything you can to help folks get through the trauma of it. So, and I want to thank fire department Garrett. I'm gonna get his
And for
contact
being here to
information. I also, my husband's finally actually really retiring on May 20th.
Oh,
You know, he retired and then he went back to work part-time at Canton Library. And he watched some kind of program. He was listening to news and they were talking about all of the threats to libraries from so many different areas and all over the country. And he was like, I never felt proud to work at Xerox the way I feel proud to work at a library. You guys are Jedis. And I was like, say that again. He says, you're Jedis. You're able to get through and do things that is at the foundation of our democracy. I'm like, wow. He's lived with me for, 30 something years now. And it was like,
Now he knows what you do.
yeah. So that's what we are supporting here.
So when Ricky retires, does that mean he'll have more time to be, he's such a good friend of the library already.
Maybe he'll take my place.
Maybe he should. We will see, although we may never let you go. We may never let you go. Well, there you go. Here we're.
to follow up on Joy. I would like to thank Garrett Gissel and his staff, as it says in the minutes here. I don't know if you saw that. This is a legal document, but it's got your name in it. And thank you and your staff. Appreciate it. It was not an easy situation, I'm sure. That's all I want to say.
Okay, thank you, John.
And I want to reiterate, what everyone said, and also thank John for calling me because I was out of town, and then thank Mary Jo for taking my call because after I fell out of my chair, then I called Mary Jo and she, explained things to me, which I really appreciate because I felt so sad. And wished I could have been here to support all of you. And I want to say as I was telling Sharon, she was there. I was on a panel for League of Women Voters of people who were elected to office, and they wanted to know why you ran for office. And my answer was passion, because I'm very passionate about this library and about what it means and what libraries in general mean to the community, which is what brought me here. First week I moved here 23 years ago, not this building, but the old one. So it means a lot to
Plus,
me.
you're an educator, it's
True.
libraries are educational facilities.
Right, and they're getting rid of the libraries in the schools, so this library becomes even more important.
Right.
Yeah.
So. And I'll say later, but she did a really good job with the League of Women Voters. So now we've got 2 more people to hear from.
So I just want to thank Sharon for reaching out to the board and kind of letting us know what was going on, because, I didn't know how to react or what had happened. So I appreciate the fact that you thought enough of us to reach out to us, and kind of let us know it. I got it under control, we'll be fine. I know Joe's gone, but staff is here, everything's gonna be fine. So that was very comforting that you were able to reach out to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a couple of thoughts. I did want to echo exactly what this committee has said as far as the assistance that the fire department helped. I was out of town at the time. The communications I thought were great that came from Sharon and Mary Jo. But I think the impact really does fall to the staff, unfortunately. And I think that with the fire department here and helping the staff kind of work through some of that has probably helped an awful lot from what I've heard from this committee and even from some of the staff here. On a different note, I had some friends, I referred some friends to come to the library for one of the activities that were here. It had something to do with places across Michigan and different things that were happening in Michigan. And there was one thing that happened up in the UP. These were places that people could go to and see. And my friends were from the UP, and they were talking about something up in the UP. And I remember it came out of this meeting, and I just told them that there was an activity here at the library, and then they actually came, and it was a cold winter night. They said, and there's this what else is there to do? And so they came to the library and they really enjoyed themselves. So
That was that Jeopardy game, wasn't it?
it wasn't a Jeopardy game. It was something to do about places in Michigan, and this was a speaker.
Travel?
Yeah, this was a speaker that was here.
Okay.
And he talked about different places throughout Michigan that people could come and visit. And there was something about the UP that kind of piqued my interest, because these guys they're really into the UP. They have a cottage up in the UP, and so they really, really enjoyed themselves. And they got back with me and said that it was really fun and they enjoyed it.
Good.
The other thing, I had a little bit of a flashback. I was on vacation and I went to Memphis. I went down to Mississippi, but I stopped in Memphis. And we paddle wheeled down to New Orleans. But while I was in Memphis, I stayed at a really cool hotel. It was called the Davenport. And if anybody ever has a chance to stay there, it's really a cool place. But my flashback was, if you remember, you had the picture of the ducks in the front last time we were here. So at this hotel, there's a big deal that's made about they have this duck parade that they actually bring ducks down on this elevator, and these ducks are trained to walk from the elevator through the hotel, and then they spend all day inside the hotel in their fountain, and they just swim inside this fountain. And so it's a really, really big deal. I mean, there's hundreds of people every single day that stop
They stay.
and
in the fountain?
they stay in the fountain.
Oh, gosh, ducks are really I have 6 of them. They're messy. They have to have really good filters on it.
So anyways, as I was watching the ducks parade through this beautiful, beautiful hotel, I had this little flashback to my library, so.
Somebody going behind them to clean up the poop.
We have ponds in our backyard, so there's ducks and geese and duck and geese poop too.
Yeah. There's
So
not
I
a
don't
lot of
know.
them. There's only like three or four. I think there's a mallard and three hens, if I'm not mistaken. But
That would be
anyway,
fun.
Google it sometime. I think
That would
I think
fun.
you'd
The
be impressed.
Davenport. That would be fun.
It was pretty neat.
Well, great, that's all, nobody got skipped, anybody got something else they wanna say? Then I I have a few things that I wanted to say today. One, we were really quite on the path of the things you all have said. We were really fortunate in another way, because Hillary was scheduled for vacation, she was supposed to be in Ireland. And she told me this, so I don't know if she'd be mad, I'm telling you all, but it's a really sweet story. When her husband got sick and they couldn't go to Ireland, and she talked to her in-laws, you know, her husband's parents about that they couldn't go. The mother-in-law was trying to, you know, make it better, you know, because, you know, your husband can't go, but she said, you probably don't know it now, but there's a reason that you're not going. Wow. But Hillary, I can't say enough. She was fantastic. And when I talked to her about it, she just said, I'm just doing my job. But she did a fantastic, she was the main one interacting with the first responders and working with the staff. And they figured out that night, you know, that we would, and talked with Mary Jo, that we would close for that weekend, which was really good, and people needed that, and just all kinds of things. So it's not only to have the staff, we acknowledge Mary Jo every week, but man, oh man, the whole team that we have here is really great. And this showed it in a way that I hope we never see again. I have a couple other things that I wanted to say. This piece that Mary Jo included in here, the social infrastructure, it's really the reason I ran for the library board. I've become more and more engaged. I remember when we visited Bologna and went to the library in Bologna, it was real old, but they had added a place. It was like an atrium, and all the whole town just gathered there. You know, they'd meet up and everything. And shortly after we came back here and we were working on the new library, and that idea has motivated me all the way along, that it's really a part of the social infrastructure. And you'll see on the second page, it said social infrastructure is vital in times of crisis. Now they're talking about, like we talked last month about how people came here when the power was out because of crisis, and the library took care of them. But now our library has its own crisis, but I really think the kind of personal infrastructure, human infrastructure here is helping us through all of that. But I really appreciated this piece, and I commend Mary Jo for sharing it with us, and I totally agree. Last month, Barbara came and she talked to us about her volunteer experience. So I'm going to copycat. Lately, I have been volunteering at the ECC, the Early Childhood Center, that is part of the Van Buren Public Schools. It's right next to the high school. And I sit in the infant room and hold babies 2 times a week. My career was in child advocacy in Lansing, and I worked on policy and explaining to legislators why we needed to support quality childcare. And that was often a very frustrating job because people think it's just babysitting and then whatever. And years ago, I just felt like we were making such slow progress. We weren't getting anywhere. Well, now fast forward, I've been retired for a while. I'm still in touch with my colleagues and their work, but to go into a state-of-the-art early childhood center like we have here and see for myself, and also hold these babies, I've got to know the little children's personalities and all, they're little baby, 3 of them I can't walk yet, and then the other 3 are flopping around like little toddlers, and my grandchildren grew up on me during the pandemic, so I couldn't, they don't live here, so I couldn't really hold them enough, so now I go over and hold them. But also, I would say that on my advocacy side, also in the years since we were starting to look at all it's a piecemeal system for little kids. You get a little money here and a little money there, and Head Start would take care of kids for maybe 3 or 4 hours a day and give them enhanced learning, but then you had to have all the rest of the day that the parents are at work, and you had to find a way to coordinate it all. And we were talking about it seemed impossible, but at least now the advocates have come together and they've figured out that it could take a bunch of money to really do it right, but that the payments are really there because most of a person's brain development comes during the first few years of life. So anyway, I am still in touch with my advocate, and I'm on that committee in Lansing that the governor had me on, and I would like to work with anybody who's interested in supporting, and I've been so thrilled about our children's corner here in Judy Darling and being able to recognize her. So that brings all kinds of things together for me. So thank you for listening to me go on with that. And then I just have to say, this last weekend was so pleasant. It makes me feel good about Belleville. Life in Belleville, it's starting to be spring. Last weekend, we had the Friends book sale, which I'm a member of the Friends of the Library too, and so I served, and I had a blast, but I was really having a brain fog, so I probably messed up the books a little, because I was supposed to be writing up the receipts. And we don't charge, those books, well, some people really added up. Some people bought so many that it added up. It doesn't add up to too much, so it wasn't like big finance, but I was still messing up, adding up little stuff. Next time I'll take a calculator. Anyway, but so they put up with me, but I had a lot of fun. I talked to a bunch of people, and the Friends are really great for us. My church, Trinity Church up here by the expressway, had a rummage sale, and that went really well, but I was running back and forth between 2 of them. And the Art and Garden sale, the Art and Garden that John and his wife participate in every year out here on West Huron River Drive near me, at the Wagner's Garden. And Cheryl Wagner is a member of our art committee. That went on this weekend, and there was something at the school. There was something going on everywhere.
Show for all the kids.
The art show, it was an art show there too. There were so many things going on that were really good, so I was running between all of those, and the weather complied mostly, except for early on Sunday. Did you get real wet? Yeah. So it's just here to Belleville, and then that's the end. That's all my things. I wrote them down this time. So now, John.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that this meeting be adjourned.
I'll
It is
second.
moved, it is seconded, we don't debate it, we are adjourned.
Right now, is there gonna be a garden tour? Something?
I don't think so.
No.
There's one in